Hey, it's your girl, your favorite paralegal, aka Cassandra Lynn, and welcome to Legal Doc Talk 24/7. Hope you guys are having an awesome day. Hey, so this is breaking news, even though I know I'm late to the party, and that is okay. Work comes before anything. So, you all have heard that Big U, Eugene Henley Jr., has been named in a criminal complaint along with several others. The complaint was actually filed on the 17th, which was yesterday. Well, no, not yesterday. It actually was 2 days ago. And we're pretty much finding out about it. It was entered on yesterday. Now, they have ordered for the case to be sealed, but as of right now, we were able to get a copy of that complaint. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I have no idea who this is. Uh, I honestly have no clue as to who this individual is and the others that are named in this criminal complaint. But somebody dropped in my last video saying you need to get on this, and I'm like, okay, well, I'll get to it once I once I done my work for the day, because I ended up pulling a copy of the complaint, and the complaint is 107 pages long, so it's going to be a lot to go through. So I was able to go through there and redact some things, and we'll hop right on into it. But the other individuals that were named in the complaint, so as I stated, the complaint was filed on the 17th of March. It was entered and accepted yesterday. And they also have put out a notice of request for detention, pretty much a warrant for their arrest. And that is for Eugene Henley Jr., who is Big U, Sylvester Robinson, Mark Martin, Tremaine Ashley Williams, Armani Afliji, Frederick Blankton Jr., and Tiffany Shanrika Hines. So all of those individuals pretty much have a warrant out for their arrest at this time. Also that was submitted was the government's ex parte application for order sealing documents, the memorandum of points and authorities, as well as the declaration of Mr. Kevin Butler. And we'll find out who Mr. Kevin Butler is, who he is, but the order to seal those documents was granted. And pretty much we can't see the notices of request for detention or the government's ex parte application. But as I stated, we do have a copy of the 107-page complaint that was filed, and we will get into that right now. All right, so what I have on my screen is the complaint, the criminal complaint by telephone or other reliable electronic means. So, Mr. Special Agent Andrew James Rosa filed this, and he stated that I, the complainant in this case, state that the following is true to the best of my knowledge and belief in or around the years of 2010 through the present in the county of Los Angeles in the Central District of California. The defendants violated Title 18 of the United States Code, sections 1962D, 1951A, 2421A, and 1344-1. The offense description is RICO conspiracy, interference with commerce by robbery, transportation of an individual in interstate commerce with intent that the individual engaged in prostitution, and bank fraud. What? Let's look at his affidavit. Well, this right here, this is going to be our. Well, I'm gonna use this because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna end up putting timestamps for you guys so that way you can go section by section if you need to reference anything. But we are going to go through all of this whole 107 pages, but I will have a timestamp for each of these sections so it'd be easier to navigate at the end of the video. Everybody's pretty much on replay because I'm recording this prior to you guys watching it. Duh. um, so let's get into the actual affidavit submitted by the special agent. I am a special agent with the Federal Bureau of Investigation and have been so employed since September of 2018. I'm currently assigned to the Criminal Enterprise Squad at the Orange County Residence Agency of the FBI, where I am tasked with investigating violent gangs and organized criminal enterprises. From March 2019 through December 2024, when I joined the Orange County Resident Agency, I was assigned to the Los Angeles field office investigating violent gangs and organized criminal enterprises in conjunction with the Los Angeles Metropolitan Task Force on Violent Gangs, a multi agent federal, state, and local gang task force. My experience as a special agent with the FBI includes, but is not limited to, conducting physical surveillance, executing search and arrest warrants, working with informants, issuing subpoenas, analyzing pin register and trap and trace records, interviewing subjects and witnesses, consensually monitored meetings and telephone calls, analyzing financial records, and conducting court authorized interception of wire communications. Wait, is that like wiretap? I have received training in the investigation of violations of the federal law, including racketeering laws and federal rug conspiracy laws, and have personally participated in and assisted with several gang investigations involving racketeering and rug conspiracies. Yeah, since 2010, bro, this is crazy. The affidavit is made in support of a criminal complaint and arrest warrants for Eugene Henley Jr., also known as Big U, aka Unc, aka Draws, what? aka Hannibal, aka Hannibal Muhammad, aka anybody unalive, aka Dave Austin, Sylvester Robertson, aka uh Vay, oh, and Mac Martin, aka Bear Claw, for a violation of Title 18 United States Code, Section 1962, Paragraph B, for racketeering influence and corrupt organizations conspiracy. Tremaine Ashley Williams, aka Luke Cannon, for a violation of Title 18 United States Code, Section 1951A, for interference with commerce by robbery. Armani Afwelje, aka Manny, for a violation of Title 18 United States Code, Section 2421A, for transportation of an individual in interstate commerce with the intent that the individual engaged in prostitution. Oh my gosh. And Frederick Blanton Jr. and Tiffany Shanrika Hines for a violation of Title 18 United States Code, Section 13441, for bank fraud. The facts set forth in this affidavit are based upon my personal observations, my training and experience, and information obtained from various law enforcement personnel and witnesses. This affidavit is intended to show merely that there is sufficient probable cause for the requested complaint and warrants, and does not purport to set forth all of my knowledge of or investigation into this matter. Unless specifically indicated otherwise, all conversations and statements described in this affidavit are related in substance and in part only. All amounts are approximate and all dates and times are on or about those indicated. Persons, property, and premises to be searched. This affidavit is made in support of warrants to search the following: the person of Henley, as described in attachment A1, a black 2021 Mercedes registered to Henley and believed to be used by Henley, bearing California license plate. And we're just going to say that's the Henley Mercedes. They are searching his residence. So I'm going to see he has two residences. Searching the person of Robinson and his residence, Martin's residence, the business of ex-offender fellowship network, doing business as developing options and other names. Oh, wow. A whole business. Items to be seized. The items to seize from Henley, Henley's Mercedes, Henley's well, I didn't show the whole address. The second 62nd Street premises and Henley's Arlington premise are evidence, fruits, and instrumentalities of violations of 18 uh, United States Code Section 1962D for the bracketeering influence of corrupt organizations conspiracy, Title 18 United States Code Section 1962C unlawful debt collection, Title 18 of the same code, Section 1951A, which is conspiracy to interference, and attempted interference with commerce by robbery and extortion. Same title, section 1924C, where it is a use of a firearm in furtherance of a crime of violence. Section 2421A, transportation of an individual in interstate commerce with the intent that the individual engaged in prostitution. Section 1343, wire fraud. Section 666A, paragraph 1A, embezzlement, conversion, and intentional misapplication of funds from organization receiving federal funds. Section 1344, bank fraud. Section 1014, false statement to a financial institution. Whew, good Lord. Title 26 of the United States Code, Section 7201, attempt to evade or defeat income tax. Same title, Section 7203, willful failure to file tax return. Title 18, Section 18, obstruction of justice. And they're relating that to Henley's subject offenses. Mm. The items to be seized from Robinson's premises, Martin, and Martin's premises are evidence, fruits, and instrumentalities of violation of Title 18 United States Code, Section 1962D. So, pretty much the same thing that we said previously. So, racketeer influence and corrupt organizations conspiracy to interference, and attempted interference with commerce by robbery and extortion, use of a firearm in furtherance of a crime of violence, obstruction of justice, and that is in relation to Robinson's and Martin's subject offenses. So for the business, developing options are evidence, fruits, and instrumentalities of violations. Same thing, racketeering influence and corrupt organizations, wire fraud, conspiracy to interference, and attempted interference with commerce by extortion, embezzlement, conversion, and intentional misapplication of funds from the organization receiving federal funds, bank fraud, false statement to a financial institution, attempt to evade or defeat income tax, willful failure to file tax return. This is wild. All right, so here's the summary of the investigation. In February 2021, the FBI Los Angeles Metropolitan Task Force on Violent Crimes launched an investigation into Henley's criminal enterprise, the Big U Enterprise, and its association with the Rolling 60s neighborhood Crip Street Gang, which the Los Angeles Metropolitan Task Force, I'm just going to say the LA Task Force, began investigating in August 2020. The Big U Enterprise is a mafia like organization that utilizes Henley's stature and longstanding association with the Rolling 60s and other street gangs to intimidate businesses and individuals in Los Angeles. The Big U Enterprise is led by Henley. Henley is a self admitted member and original gangster or OG of the Rolling 60s, a violent criminal street gang with associated sets in several other states. Henley is widely regarded as a leader within the Rolling 60s. In the 1980s, Henley rose to a prominent position in the Los Angeles rug and Rolling 60s hierarchies. During this time, Henley also earned a reputation as an enforcer for the Rolling 60s. Some members of the Big U enterprise are also members of the Rolling 60s. Henley is able to lead the Big U enterprise because of his standing as the face of the Rolling 60s for decades and his reputation for violence, including unaliving. At times, the Big U Enterprise partners with members and associates of the Rolling 60s and other criminal elements for a mutual benefit, but the Big U Enterprise is a distinct and independent criminal enterprise engaged in criminal activity. Members and associates of the Big U enterprise are engaged in illegal activity, including extortion, robbery, unaliving, human trafficking, wire fraud, bank fraud, and other financial crimes, obstruction of justice, illegal debt collection, illegal gambling, conspiracy to commit fraud with illegal gambling, and other offenses and furtherance of the Big U enterprise and for the benefits of its members and associates. As set forth in detail below, through the course of the investigation, agents gathered information from a variety of sources, including confidential human sources, woo, surreptitious recordings, including Title III wiretaps, search warrants for social media, iCloud, and Google accounts, financial records from both individuals and companies or organizations, toll records showing communications between conspirators, victims, and Big U Enterprise members and associates. Cell site location information from numerous phones, including Henley's, Robertson's, and Martin's. City of the Los Angeles records, public filings, and other publicly available information. And 8 interviews of witnesses and victims. The investigation employed various additional investigative techniques, including surveillance, vehicle tracking, poll cameras, recording devices, interactions with confidential sources, and information gleaned through undercover purchases of firearms and narcotics. This is wild. And you only see when you talk about like confidential informants, I only see this in movies, but to know that this is really going on out here is just beyond me. So it's like you have to be careful on who's in your circle because you never know who's going back to the law telling your every move. This is wild. The United States District Court for the Central District of California authorized multiple Title III wire and electronic interceptions orders for telephones being used by certain subjects of the investigation, including Henley, Robinson, Martin, and Zira Mitchell, aka Brick Baby. The court also authorized the interception of audio and visual, nonverbal conduct via closed circuit television. Oh, CCTV? Through the installation of video and audio bugs in a location. Since the inception of this investigation, the FBI, the IRS, Criminal Investigation, United States Attorney's Office for the Central District of California, North Las Vegas Police Department, Los Angeles Police Department, and other local agencies have interviewed more than 50 individuals, including subjects of the investigation who agreed to voluntarily provide information as discussed further below. So you got people that is voluntarily giving up information just voluntarily like hey, I got some information for you. I think I think you might want to know this. That is wild. Hold on, because I want to see what this Title III wire and electronic interception is. I'm looking it up right now. So, Title III of the Omnibus Crime Control and Safe Streets Act of 1968, also known as the Federal Wiretap Act, regulates the interception and disclosure of wire, oral, and electronic communications, requiring judicial authorization for government interceptions and imposing restrictions on their use and disclosure. So pretty much what happens is they have to get authority from the court in order to just go and wiretap. Wow, when I say this is interesting. Based on the information learned from these individuals and other sources, FBI special agents, IRS, CI special agents, the Las Vegas North wait North Las Vegas Police Department, Nevada. Oh, what is it? Nevada? Hold up. North Las Vegas. Okay, I knew I was right. um, detectives, LAPD detectives requested and obtained additional search warrants and subpoenas. Below, I summarize the information and evidence obtained thus far from these various investigative tools where relevant to the requested complaint and warrants. The investigation remains ongoing. Now, here's where we get into the probable cause. Did they have probable cause to search their persons and their properties? Let's talk about it. Henley, Robertson, and Martin, and others known and unknown, are members of a Big U enterprise, a criminal organization whose members and associate engaged in, among other things, unaliving, kidnapping, robbery, extortion, interstate transportation for the purposes of prostitution, bank fraud, wire fraud, embezzlement, and obstruction of justice. The Big U enterprise operates within the Central District of California and elsewhere. The Big U enterprise, including its leaders, members, and associates, constitute an enterprise as defined by Title 18 United States Code, Section 1961, Paragraph 4, that is, a group of individuals associated, in fact, that engaged in, and the activities of which affected interstate and foreign commerce. The Big U enterprise constituted an ongoing organization whose members and associates function as a continuing unit for a common purpose of achieving the purpose of the Big U enterprise. The purposes of the Big U enterprise include, but are not limited to, the following: A. Enriching Big U enterprise members and associates by using the power and status of the Big U enterprise and Henley as an original gangster of the rolling 60s to commit extortion, robbery, fraud, and other crimes. B. Promoting, protecting, and expanding the power, reputation, and profits of the Big U enterprise and its members and associates through the use of intimidation, fear, violence, threats of violence, assaults, extortion, and unaliving. Using social media platforms, documentaries, podcasts, interviews, and Henley's reputation and status to create fame for and stoke fear of the Big U enterprise, its members, and its associates. D. Financially enriching Big U enterprise members and associates by defrauding donors to nonprofit entities under the control of the Big U enterprise and its members and associates, including developing options. This is wow. I feel like I am reading a movie transcript. Financially enriching Big U enterprise members and associates by defrauding federal, state, and local agencies that awarded grants and other financial support to nonprofit entities under the control of Big U enterprise and its members and associates, including developing options. Oh my gosh, this is not good. I have a nonprofit, so this nonprofit is done for. That can you kiss that 501c3 bye bye forever. Financially enriching Big U enterprise members and associates by defrauding mortgage lending businesses to make loans to employees of entities under the control of Big U enterprise and its members and associates, including unique music entertainment and developing options. Gratifying Big U enterprise members and associates by trafficking and exploiting ex workers, and concealing and protecting the illegal activities of the Big U enterprise and its members and associates from detection by law enforcement through means that included, among other things, witness tampering and obstruction of justice. Beginning no later than 2010 and continuing to the present in Los Angeles County within the I'm sorry, doing too many Diddy cases, within the Central District of California and elsewhere. Henley, Robinson, and Martin, each being a person employed by and associated with the Big U enterprise, an enterprise engaged in and the activities of which affected interstate and foreign commerce, knowingly and intentionally conspired to violate Title 18 of the United States Code, Section 1962C. That is, to conduct and participate directly and indirectly in the conduct of the affairs of the Big U enterprise through a pattern of racketeering activity as the term is defined in Title 18 of the United States Code, Sections 1961 1 and 1961 5. Which pattern of racketeering consisted of. All right, so now we're getting into the racketeering part. Multiple acts involving part one, unaliving, which is chargeable under Nevada revised statutes. Kidnapping, which is chargeable under Nevada revised statutes. I'm not going to read the sections, y'all can see that there. Robbery, chargeable under the California Penal Code. Extortion, chargeable under California Penal Code. Multiple acts indictable under Title 18. So we have relating to wire fraud, relating to financial institution fraud, relating to interference with commerce, robbery, or extortion, and relating to interstate transportation of the purpose of prostitution. It was further part of the conspiracy that Henley, Robinson, and Martin agreed that the conspirator would commit at least two acts of racketeered activity in the conduct of affairs of the Big U enterprise. Henley, Robinson, and Martin, and other members of the associates of the Big U enterprise, conducted and participated in the conduct of the affairs of the Big U enterprise through the following means and methods, among others. A. Members and associates of the Big U enterprise committed and conspired, attempted, and threatened to commit acts of violence, including unaliving, armed assaults, robbery, extortions, acts of intimidation, and threats of violence to generate income, create an atmosphere of fear, protect and expand the Big U enterprise's reputation for violence, and expand the Big U enterprise's criminal operations. B. Member and associates of the Big U enterprise used Henley's history and reputation, including his connections to the violent Rolling 60 Street gangs, to toot the Big U enterprise's reputation for violence and that the Big U enterprise controlled Los Angeles. As part of the Big U's enterprise's purported control of Los Angeles, individuals, including professional athletes, musicians, and others, intended to conduct certain types of business in Los Angeles, including both legitimate business and illicit criminal conduct, were required to check in when Henley, prior to traveling to Los Angeles or engaging in certain activities to obtain protection from the Big U enterprise while in Los Angeles. What? Henley hosted a podcast titled Check In, the opening theme song, which explained when you hop off the plane, check in. Penthouse suite, check in. When your feet hit the street, check in. Because if not, ish get hot. You better check in. The check-in included both a payment to the Big U enterprise as well as requesting permission from Henley to conduct certain activities, including acts of violence, that were sanctioned by the Big U enterprise. So you telling me if somebody wanted to come to Los Angeles to commit a crime, they gotta check in and pay a fee? As Henley described in a documentary film that he produced about his life titled Hip Hop Uncovered, if I don't pick up the phone, that can mean unaliving for somebody. As Henley stated in the Nothing to Something podcast, you're going to check in. You could choose not to, and it's going to be a problem. If you choose not to check in, you suffer the consequences. You feel like you got something bigger than what's there, and that not checking in is basically an act of war. It ain't not one human being who not going to check in. Wait, it ain't not one human being who not going to check in. Okay. Oh, this I'm blown away cuz what? D. While members and associates of the Big U Enterprise use Henley as the Big U and the Big U Enterprise's history and reputation to control Los Angeles through violence, fear, and intimidation, Henley simultaneously attempted to create an air of legitimacy for the Big U Enterprise by promoting himself as the reformed gang member focused on bettering his community through purported nonprofit organizations he founded, such as Developing Options, and by soliciting donations from celebrities and grants from governments and foundations to these charitable organizations. Boy, this is crazy. So you're putting up a smoke screen pretty much. In actuality, Henley and other members of the associates of the Big U Enterprise use the purported nonprofit entities to enrich and further the objectives of the Big U Enterprise, including by. And before I get into that I'm going back to what I read last night covering the Jay-Z case where it says that he has the Sean Carter Scholarship Fund, da 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 da. These are nonprofits. So it's crazy and it's weird to me. Like, there are legit nonprofits out there. Don't get me wrong. But when I start seeing celebrities, and not saying that all of them are like that, but when I start seeing celebrities get nonprofits, I always feel like that is a hidden agenda behind it. There's something that they want to cover up. They try to portray one thing to us, but behind the scenes, they're doing something totally different. Alrighty. So let's see. So their further objectives of Big U Enterprises included by embezzling funds meant as charitable donations to the nonprofit entities, using the nonprofit entities to fraudulently apply for government assistance and loans. And here, my little nonprofit, I be writing my own grants. And here he's getting thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of money in grants from the government. Using the nonprofit entities to falsify employment and financial records to personally benefit members and associates of the Big U enterprise. E. Members and associates of the Big U enterprise would discipline other members and associates who acted in ways seen as detrimental to the Big U enterprise, or other individuals who were seen as disrespecting the Big U enterprise or its members, including through threats and acts of violence such as assault, kidnapping, and unaliving. F. Members and associates of the Big U enterprise would avoid detection by law enforcement by, among other activities, such as attempting to thwart and evade law enforcement surveillance, destroying video surveillance or other evidence, threatening or otherwise pressuring victims or witnesses of crimes committed by members and associates of the Big U enterprise to avoid interaction with or to provide untruthful statements or testimonies to law enforcement officers. In sum, there is probable cause to believe that in the furtherance of the Big U enterprises, that Henley kidnapped an unalived victim RW in Las Vegas in retaliation for perceived disrespect to the Big U enterprise, and endeavored to conceal that unaliving with other Big U enterprise members and associates. Who's RW? Somebody please put that in the chat. Henley, Robinson, Martin, and Williams committed and arranged robberies to enrich the Big U enterprise, further the extortions committed by the Big U enterprise, and to create the impression that the Big U enterprise controlled Los Angeles. Henley, Robinson, and Martin extorted individuals in Los Angeles for purported protection when such protection was actually from violence committed by the Big U enterprise itself. Henley and Aphilogy arranged for the interstate transportation of individuals to engage in prostitution for Henley and Big U enterprise members. Henley defrauded various companies, donors, athletes, and celebrities into providing donations to the Big U Enterprises charities, only to transfer those donations to his own personal bank account for personal use. Yeah, bro, you cooked. And boy, if the news is out now. The news is out. So if somebody get their hands or if they're listening to somebody's podcast or YouTube channel or the news, they're going to be like, "Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. All my hard-earned money has went to this man and it only went to his pocket. They did it for charitable donations and it went to his personal bank account." Henley fraudulently obtaining funding from the City of Los Angeles Mayor's office through the Gang Reduction, oh man, Youth Development Foundation, portions of which received federal funding. Oh yeah, bro, you cooked. Henley defrauded and attempted to defraud the Small Business Administration for loans that benefited the Big U enterprises. To enrich Blanton, a Big U Enterprise associate who purported to work for the Big U Enterprises charitable organization, Henley, Martin, Blanton, and Hines committed bank fraud by submitting a fraudulent mortgage application. Henley, Robinson, and Martin and other members and associates of the Big U Enterprise attempted to obstruct investigations into and conceal the above referenced crimes committed on behalf of the Big U Enterprise. Statement of probable cause. 20. Unless otherwise noted below, my knowledge of the facts summarized herein is based on my training and experience, my discussion with the other investigators, and my review of law enforcement reports, search warrant, and subpoena returns. Title 3 Wiretap Interceptions, Public Domain Interviews to include YouTube and podcast interviews and docuseries, electronic and other written communications, interviews of certain individuals and City of Los Angeles records and other publicly available documents. All I gotta say is this man better be in hiding because special agent, your name is out there. And if these individuals have not been caught and you're saying that they are into all of this stuff, baby, I would be hiding. Like nobody will know where I'm at. All right, so the Big U. So let's see about the Big U enterprise. As discussed herein, I believe that Henley led the Big U enterprise. Robinson was a years long associate and confidant of Henley and served as his right hand man, underboss, and enforcer in the Big U enterprise. And Martin was also a close confidant and trusted lieutenant of Henley in the Big U enterprise. Much of the Big U Enterprise prize's structure and affiliation with the Rolling 60s is in the public domain. In the television series Hip Hop Uncovered, which Henley executive produced, Henley detailed the history of the Rolling 60s and his involvement with that gang. Henley admitted he was a Rolling 60s member from the first generation. Henley advised that the Rolling 60s was a large Crip gang known to instill fear in the community. Henley claimed that he did not have gang related tattoos because people already knew where he was from, and it was never a question. A similar quote that Henley often repeated when asked why he has no gang tattoos, it is that it isn't on you, it's in you. After encountering legal trouble as a juvenile, Henley moved from California to Chicago. Henley admitted elsewhere to being on the run and conducting illegal drug activities in Chicago. While Henley was living in Chicago, Henley decided to move back to Los Angeles to participate in the gang war after an associate's unaliving. At the time, Henley noted his mentality was that we were hunting. To us, it wasn't about fighting, it was about pow pows now. My philosophy was the pow pow can get you any and everywhere you need to be. After Henley returned to Los Angeles in the 1980s, he became known as a fighter for the Rolling 60s by fighting other gang members. As Henley recalled, those fights were about dominating the Rolling 60s competition. Henley remembered to Henley remembered he and approximately 200 other Rolling 60 gang members went to a Run DMC concert at the Long Beach Convention Center to establish and maintain their dominance within the Los Angeles based street gang scene. Henley characterized his and the Rolling 60s moral code at the time as get 'em before they get you. Throughout the 1980s, Henley fostered a fierce and earned reputation for violence, which included multiple charges for first degree unaliving, as well as a charge for attempted unaliving of a peace officer. What? According to these statements, Henley believed that by 1987 he had cemented his reputation as a tough person who could not be crossed. Henley recounted serving time in county jail where he beat up other inmates for the purpose of establishing a pecking order. Henley was also earning money through the rug trade in other cities such as Minneapolis, where he realized he had influence over other Rolling 60 gang members. When Henley was 22 years old, he claimed to stop selling rugs and transition to a different racket. He believed his moniker Big U was so big and ominous. Every time I go through a door, I really was a beast. That was the mentality. Despite having such power within the Rolling 60s, Henley did not have a reliable source of income outside of the rug trade. Henley subsequently connected with the hip hop artist Kenneth Green, aka Papa LQ, have no idea who that is, and became his manager. In the docu-series, Papa LQ recounted that Henley was in tune with both the community and gang culture. Henley also became the manager of a hip hop artist, Ricardo Emmanuel Brown, aka Corrupt. Now, I know who Corrupt is, a self admitted Rolling 60s gang member. In 1991, was found guilty and sentenced to 23 years in state prison for robbery, and as he admitted, he was also charged with kidnapping. While Henley was incarcerated, Henley stated that Corrupt maintained contact with Henley and ensured he was kept abreast of developments in the music industry. In 2022, on the podcast Dub C and C Max Show, Henley described himself as an enforcer in prison and recounted knocking somebody's eyeball out of their socket as well as committing stabbings. What? I need to see what this dude looked like. In 2004, Henley was released from prison. In the docu-series, hip-hop artist Calvin Brodus Jr., aka Snoop Dogg, characterized Henley as institutionalized. You say the wrong thing, you get effed up. He was short-tempered and serious about the ish he was on. Something about him I liked because I felt like he was a leader. Henley claimed that he was focused on healing his community when he returned home from prison. Accordingly to Henley, his primary objective was to effect change and lift his community to a better place instead of destroying it. Okay. Henley's own words, though, show the falsity of his claim reformation. For example, on December 31st, 2022, on an intercepted call, Henley explained his motivation for committed unalivings on behalf of the Big U Enterprises, stating, what you guys see on the internet, y'all keep hearing other people who don't have nothing to talk about sell. Let me explain something to you. If I would have had a problem with any man, color, creed, king, or kind, the issue would have been resolved and he wouldn't be here or I wouldn't be here. It ain't no kidding nothing. And it damn near nobody been in this mother ucker longer than me can stand against me and me be who I am. If I had a problem with any man, and this wouldn't be so funny to me, I'm still who they say I am. Similarly, On April 23rd, 2023, on an intercepted call, Henley discussed gang politics with a co conspirator and stated, I'm retired ninja, activist. I'll pull up on your block right now, ninja, and show up and show out, ninja. That's what happened to the last ninjas that thought I was retired. Oh, man. According to the docuseries, as Henley transitioned to life in Los Angeles following incarceration, he returned to a hip hop industry. Corrupt connected Henley with Suge Knight, oh gosh, the former chief executive officer of Death Row Records. Henley recounted that Suge Knight assisted him financially when he was released from prison. Henley referred to himself as the Blue Suge Knight, as Henley, as of 2004, was widely regarded as the leader of the Rolling 60s. Because of his reputation, Henley was well positioned to ultimately form and lead the Big U enterprise. In approximately 2008, Henley formed a relationship with hip hop artist Armis Joseph Nipsey Hussle. Oh, Nipsey. After several years, Henley temporarily left the industry after he had a falling out with Nipsey Hussle related to equipment at Henley's shop. Henley recounted in the docuseries that Nipsey Hussle made a diss song about Henley, but Henley is a scraper, not a rapper. Oh wait, a scrapper. I said a scraper. A scrapper, not a rapper. Henley stated that even after they settled their differences, he picked up Nipsey Hussle one morning so that Nipsey Hussle could get disciplined for the diss song. However, Nipsey Hussle's brother intervened and told Henley that Nipsey Hussle was not going anywhere. LAPD reports documented that violence erupted, and when the LAPD officers arrived on scene, a firearm was present and discharged. In 2019, Nipsey Hussle was unalived by a member of the Rolling 60s. Wait, let me go to this footnote 8. As detailed below, I believe this illustrates how Henley and the Big U enterprise respond to perceived slights or disrespect through threats and physical violence. Man, the check in. Henley and the Big U Enterprises are widely known for requiring a check in for out of town entertainers or gang members in Los Angeles. And now, this is not the first time I've heard this because I remember listening to a YouTube video with Snoop Dogg, and Snoop Dogg was saying that people have to check in. And I was like, that's actually a thing? People have to check in? That's crazy. As Henley described in the docuseries, if I don't answer the phone, it can be F for someone else. Everywhere, like someone like me, you can't put a monetary value on his touch in hip hop. After more than 3 decades as a Rolling 60s member and several years managing famous hip hop artists, Henley was widely regarded as the original gangster or OG. In the docuseries, record producer Andre Young, aka Dr. Dre, explained that it is very helpful to have an OG who can clear the streets. Within this operating environment, Henley instituted the concept of the check in when hip hop artists and other celebrities visit Los Angeles. Oh yeah, because I want to know. I'm curious as to how these check-in work. So let's tap into that. How they work. The check-ins is a term used when someone travels outside of their home city to another city. During that travel, the individual must check in or meet with the local street representative of said city to pay a tax or fee for permission both to move about freely and to have an event or conduct business in that other city without the risk of harassment or danger from criminal elements. While Henley and the other supporters attempt to persuade the public that the check in provides safety and security for those who do so, as set forth herein, Henley and the Big U enterprise also manufacture the very danger they purport to protect against. According to Henley's statements in the docuseries, as corroborated by our investigation, some visiting hip hop artists and other individuals pay Henley a fee to check in if they are not from Los Angeles. In the docuseries, James Anthony, aka Bimmy, and Steve Lobel, the CEO of A to Z Entertainment, stressed that it is important to know the right people, such as Henley, when visiting places like Los Angeles. However, as podcaster Livingston Allen, DJ Academics, I'm about sick of him, explained in a docuseries, the check-in is an analogous to the commission for the gang or neighborhood where the OG is from. Christian Anthony Mathis, aka Trick Trick, who are these people? Explained in the docuseries that enforces the check-ins in Detroit, Michigan. Trick Trick added, "Come without permission. I don't want to hear it. You gotta say. I created these laws, so I enforce them. All we coming for is our portion." Trick Trick further explained that he instituted a no-fly zone in Detroit, in which artists could not perform in their city unless Trick Trick was paid. Without paying a commission to OG's organizations such as Big U Enterprise, visitors to Los Angeles are at risk of violence. Henley has also provided examples of individuals who do not check in with him until it's too late, such as rap artist Taquan Terrell Bowman Quando Rondo, when whom Henley discussed in another interview and who was later targeted in a unaliving for hire plot where his associate was unalived. When defending his practice in interviews, Henley has stated that it is no difference that when a Learjet flies over the United States airspace, they want to know who you are. Henley said his practice is no different, which I believe indicates that he purports to own and control Los Angeles through the Big U enterprise. This is how can you compare that to the United States? Like, I get the no fly zones, the airspace, and all this other stuff. What you're doing is illegal, man. How Henley and the Big U Enterprise respond to failures to check in. And you putting all of this in a docu-series that is aired to millions of people across the world. Oh my gosh. In 2022, the FBI interviewed a cooperating witness who told the FBI about one of these check-in incidents. The witness one stated that he knew Henley was a Rolling 60s member. Witness one also said Henley led a money making gang that was, distinct from the Rolling 60s, referring to the Big U Enterprise. According to Witness one, rap artists, athletes, and other individuals needed to pay Henley a fee when they visited Los Angeles. C1 believes, or CW1, believed the fees that Henley collected were extortion payments. Now, I'm going to tap into this footnote. So, cooperating witness has a criminal history that includes convictions for possession of sales of narcotics in 2003 and 2009 in violation of the California Health and Safety Code. Okay, da 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 da. He received or they received cooperation credit from the Central District of New York at sentencing in a prior drug conspiracy case alleging a violation of Title 21. However, former President Biden commuted sentence for that offense. You know, I'm gonna save this because now I'm about to go through that list and I'm about to see who that is. And if I could do it and find it, I'm pretty sure Henley's people can find it. They don't leave much, like, I wouldn't even have put that in this document, to be honest, because now you left so many not personal identification, factors that we could say, oh, okay, it's this person, but you left enough information where people can actually go and research and determine who this person is. CW1 then recounted that a large buy in dice game occurred in Los Angeles in June of 2019. The game involved the professional boxer AB, AB's associate, and several prominent NBA players. According to CW1, AB and his associates fixed the game and cheated the NBA players out of the millions of dollars using teased dice. Following that game, Henley directed a group of Big U Enterprise associates to rough up AB, who did not check in with Henley, and to get the money back from him on behalf of the cheated NBA players. Multiple members of the Rolling 60s ultimately arrived, and Henley used them to press AB. CW1 said that Henley was involved with the incident because Henley was involved in and or would have approved of any dice games or similar events such as parties involving large sums of money and prominent NBA players and celebrities in Los Angeles. Multiple persons involved in the incident who have since been interviewed, including former NBA players, confirmed that Henley was paid $100,000 for negotiating this debt. However, each was later approached by associates of AB and told they still owed the money. I do have a question. So it's stated that when they have like these events or parties that involves large sums of money and prominent NBA players and celebrities in Los Angeles are there, I wonder if Diddy, like I know that he had a house in New York and um Florida, but I guess because he had residency in Los Angeles, he didn't have to check in. But that's my thing. Like back in the days, did you have to do that? Because you didn't always had a crib in Los Angeles. CW1 was aware of other instances where NBA players or other celebrities would need to work with and get approval in advance from Henley to ensure the safety at events in Los Angeles, such as parties, gambling games, and advertising shoots. CW1 said that these celebrities would have to seek and or pay Henley for protection and approval or face retaliation from the Big U enterprise. At the outset of the investigation, victim one was identified as an extortion victim. Victim one is described further below. Stop describing these people. From April 14, 2022 until April 15, 2022, victim one conducted a consensually monitored meeting with Henley and other identified individuals. During the meeting, Henley told victim one and others that he got into it with AB after AB cheated a current NBA All-Star out of 1.5 million and a former NBA All-Star out of 5 million. Oh man. Henley also said that he charged the players $100,000 so that he could get their money back from AB. A confidential informant involved with the cheating scheme corroborated this information and that AB was confronted for failing to check in when Henley regarding the game. Supposedly legitimate business and charities used by the Big U enterprise. Henley and Martin formed the independent record label Unique Music in 1996. In 2004, Henley formed Developing Options, for which Henley is CEO and Martin is Chief Financial Officer. Oh wait, hold on. I didn't even read the victims one. Let me see. So victim one has a criminal history that includes arrest for narcotics, conspiracy and distribution. He has pending sentence for robbery in violation, as well as felony conviction for human trafficking of a minor under the age of 18. He will receive, or they will receive, cooperation credit based on this case in his unrelated pending drug case from the United States District Court in the Southern District of Ohio. Because I'm about to say, you better not get credit for no human trafficking case. All right, so going back to the business. Developing Options does business as many other entities, including the Crenshaw Rams youth football team, which is designed to give underprivileged children a safe outlet in sports with a chance to build skills for the future, including athletic scholarships. According to its website, Developing Options use advocacy, education resources, training, and development in sports to achieve its objectives. In the docuseries, Henley indicated that Developing Options was a platform he used to help individuals get to college instead of going to jail. Many other publicly available recordings online show Henley describing the structure of Developing Options, how it is funded, and what it claims to do for the community. Since since approximately 2015, Developing Options has been the recipient of an annual $550,000 as part of the GRYD program overseen by the city of Los Angeles. From July 1st, 2018 to June 30th, 2023, Develop Options was allocated 2,352,000 from the city of Los Angeles. From that, Henley was drawn hundreds of thousands of dollars purportedly in salary. The GRYD program has an extensive mandatory handbook that is appended to each contract and that developing options like every other GRYD contractor must comply with. Because that's why I say, how did this end up happening? Because you have to give detailed reports at the end of the year. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm yawning. At the end of the year, you have to give like a report depending on what type of grant it is, whether it's restricted or unrestricted. Some require reports as to what you've done with the money. Okay. The detailed and extensive handbook has many requirements that include extensive criminal background checks, compliance training and approval of employees, attendance at meetings, login activity, and liaison with local law enforcement, among other requirements. Based on my review of the documents in the course of this investigation, developing options appear to have failed to comply with some or potentially all of those requirements. Henley further solicits donations to developing options from celebrities, companies, foundations, and other entities, which the victim donors believe will further a charitable purpose, but often instead are embezzled into Henley's personal bank account. As discussed further in detail below, Henley, Robertson, and Martin and other Big U enterprise co conspirators utilized developing options as a platform to conduct both violent crimes and financial crimes under the guise of gang intervention work. Henley also fraudulently applied for federal pandemic relief funds for his entities, including developing options, unique music, and other businesses. The loans and or advances he successfully obtained are discussed further below. Similarly, similarly, Henry and Martin helped one of their employees at developing options, Blanton, fraudulently apply for a mortgage by manipulating his income records. The Big U enterprise is committed by financially enriching its members and associates by stealing or cheating its victims out of money or property. This is wild. Man, what? Racketeering activity of unaliving. Summary. Oh, racketeering activity of unaliving RW. I don't even know who RW is. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. No, I don't know who. I'm not even going to lie to y'all. I don't know who RW is. Let me just keep going. As set forth below, there is probable cause to believe that Henley unalived victim RW on January 25th, 2021. You know what? Let me just Google who was unalived in Las Vegas. Who was unalived on January 25th, 2021? Let me see. I put unalived and like, girl, you can. Oh man, I don't know. Well, if y'all know who RW is, y'all let me know, cause child, I'm lost. So whoever RW was, he was unalived January 25th, 2021, and dragged his body into the desert in North Las Vegas. On that morning, North Las Vegas PD detectives discovered the body of RW lying in the desert near the Apex landfill. RW had been unalived multiple times, and his body has been dragged and left in a ditch not far from the Interstate 15. Hours before his homicide, RW was at the studio of Witness 2 with Henley. North Las Vegas PD Investigation revealed that RW was one of Henley's recording artists and was at the studio as a guest of Henley recording for Unique Music, the independent record label that Henley and Martin co-founded. According to the studio witness 1, who was employed as security for the recording studio, Henley was one of the last people seen with RW prior to RW's homicide. Witness 1 also stated that Robinson drove Henley to Las Vegas from Los Angeles in a dark gray Lexus, and that Witness 1, in his security capacity, encountered Henley and Robinson when they arrived at the studio and had words with them because he did not know where they were. Witness 1's statements to the North Las Vegas PD at the outset of the unaliving investigation have been corroborated by the other witnesses and cell phone location data, among other evidence. Further investigation revealed motive, opportunity, obstruction, inculpatory statements, and more from Henley and other members and associates of the Big U enterprise. The unaliving and connection to the Big U enterprise. On January 20th, 2021, 5 days before the unaliving and 3 days before Henley and Robertson drove from Los Angeles to Las Vegas, RW recorded a diss track, or recorded a diss, short for disrespect. Song later, NLVPD later obtained. In it, RW rapped about the person who had the money, that RW would be pow in the face for thinking ish funny, and reference a 38 revolver with no trace. Based on my knowledge of this investigation and conversations with others, I believe that in this diss song, RW was dissing Henley, referring to Henley as the bro that makes some money, and that RW may get pow in the face for thinking his I don't even know how to say that, lackadaisical use of the studio and general representation of unique music is funny. RW was pow days later, in the face, apparently with a revolver that left no shell casings. It is unknown whether Henley heard these lyrics prior to the murder or the unaliving. The effectiveness of Big U Enterprise is premised on Henley's stature as the most feared man in Los Angeles. As such, ensuring that no one disrespects Henley and that any such perceived disrespect is met with reprehensible violence, it is a core tenet of Big U Enterprise, and even more so when that disrespect is displayed publicly, like in front of extortion victims. Because whoever was at that studio had to call him and say, "Hey, listen to this." As Henley, or it had to be. Cause I don't think this was probably dude's first time recording this track. It could happen days prior and he went in there. I'm just thinking, because to be pow in the face with that type, that's far from a coincidence, I feel. As Henley himself stated on an intercepted call in 2023, "Can't no ninja beef with me, ninja, cause if he do, I'ma unalive him, period. I am going to unalive him." As Robinson explained in a surreptitious recording, when Henley got out, he said, "I'm the toughest ninja, and here's my body of work to prove it. And I'm the only ninja still unaliving ninjas today. You ninjas retired. I didn't. They understand that." Because the Big U Enterprise existence relies on and thrives on the fears of violence, perception is paramount. As witness to explain, Henley, through the Big U Enterprises entity Unique Music, was using Witness two's expensive, valuable studio to record the Big U Entertainment's artist RD. I'm sorry, I said RD, RW for free, based on the fear and power dynamic imposed over Witness 2 by the Big U Enterprise for years. And by taking a lackadaisical approach to the studio time the Big U enterprise has secured for free, RW was wasting that time. I believe that RW wasting that time, thereby disparaging Henley's name and the Big U Enterprise reputation, and potentially flouting the disrespect with the lyrics of the diss song, led to a dispute between Henley and RW. The dispute was so serious that Henley and Robertson drove from Los Angeles to Las Vegas to confront RW, and that dispute then turned deadly. Throughout our investigation, no investigator, family member, witness, and or third party has ever identified any individuals that would have motive or opportunity to unalive RW except Henley. As discussed herein, Henley's motive for unaliving RW was in the interest of the Big U enterprise. Mm. Henley's cell phone location corroborates his involvement in RW's unaliving. I have reviewed cell phone location information obtained via search warrants by the North Las Vegas PD for two phones associated with Henley for the time before, during, and after the unaliving. According to Witness 1, Witness 2, and one of RW's friends who was visiting him in Las Vegas the day he was unalived, as well as an analysis of Henley's phones, Henley and Robinson arrived at Las Vegas on January 23rd, 2021. The night before the unaliving, Henley's phone location data and witnesses showed that he arrived at an on Round Rock Drive in Las Vegas, Nevada. The Airbnb RW was staying in prior to the homicide. In the middle of the night, Henley, through Unique Music, was paying for the Airbnb. Surveillance footage from in front of the Airbnb showed a dark gray or silver sedan arriving at the Airbnb and leaving shortly after. The surveillance video also showed Henley at the Airbnb. On January 24th, 2021, the night of the unaliving, at approximately 7:04 p.m. Hold on. Why I feel like the dates was off? Oh, nope, not. All right. Henley arrived at the studio, according to the witness, at approximately 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. RW arrived at the studio and recorded a song from approximately 11 p.m. until midnight. On January 25th, 2021, at approximately 12:37 a.m., Henley left the studio and the dark gray Lexus in which he and Robinson had driven to the studio was no longer at the studio. At approximately 12:58 a.m., Henley's phones stopped reporting location data of any kind, with the last data recorded within the vicinity of the studio. At approximately 1:13 a.m., surveillance footage at the Airbnb again revealed a dark gray and silver sedan arriving to the Airbnb. RW exited the passenger side of the vehicle and entered the Airbnb. A few minutes later, at approximately 1:20 a.m., RW exited the Airbnb with a suitcase, put the suitcase in the trunk, and got in the dark gray or silver sedan, which departed. The Airbnb, though, was rented for another day, and RW is not set to leave until a flight scheduled for the following day. Both of Henley's phones did not begin reporting location data until approximately 2:15 a.m. Based on investigator test drives and research, the drive from the studio to the Airbnb would take roughly 17 minutes. After Henley's phone stopped reporting location data when they left the vicinity of the studio, the dark sedan arrived with RW at the Airbnb 15 minutes later, which is consistent with traffic patterns after midnight. The drive from the Airbnb to the location where RW's body was found, and then the location where Henley's phones began reporting again, would take roughly 42 minutes. The time went from when RW left the Airbnb to when Henley's phones began reporting again is 48 minutes. Approximate time for the drive, unaliving, and moving of the body, particularly in the middle of the night without traffic. Boy. One of Henley's phones then made a call to Robinson, who Witness One reported was still at the studio, which is corroborated by Robinson's phone location data. According to Witness One, Robinson asked Witness One if he had seen Henley, which Witness One found odd since Robinson was Henley's driver and bodyguard. At approximately 2:30 a.m. or 3 a.m., Henley returned to the studio alone in a dark gray Lexus and spoke with Witness One, who reported that Henley appeared to be drenched in either sweat or water. Henley told Witness One that he was coming back from the gym. RW's body was found hours later at approximately 9 a.m. One of the North Las Vegas Police Department detectives investigating the unaliving believe RW died at the location near the side of the road on I 15 after he observed the roadway contained a distinct pattern of blood, which trailed down the hill from the roadway into the desert along with the drag marks. Henley's phone location data shows he departed Las Vegas to return to Los Angeles at approximately 10 a.m. Evidence from the scene. Officers and medical professionals responded to the scene of RW's unaliving, and a subsequent autopsy found that RW died from multiple pow wounds. The responders noted that RW was not dressed for the weather, which was cold and inclement on the night of the unaliving. DNA was collected from RW's ankle sock area, consistent with the direction that RW was dragged into the desert off the highway. The DNA profile obtained was not complete, likely due to the aforementioned inclement weather on the night of the unaliving. Analysis of Henry's DNA profile was inconclusive, such that he could not be excluded as the contributor of the DNA, meaning that it matched. Robinson, on the other hand, was excluded as the potential contributor of the DNA, meaning that he was nowhere to be found. None of his DNA was found, so he's excluded. Okay. Henley arranges for recording equipment from the studio to be removed and surveillance video to be destroyed. So this is number 5. Witnesses Witness one told North Las Vegas PD detectives that DS, who is Henry's associate, removed video recording equipment from the studio a couple of days after the homicide, including destruction of surveillance video data that would have shown RW and Henley at the studio shortly before RW's unaliving. Witness 2 told the FBI that Henley ordered Witness 1 and Witness 2 to leave the premises, take a walk, prior to the removal of the video recording equipment. Witness 1 explained that 3 relatively new surveillance and working DVR devices had been removed from the studio and all the security cameras were disabled. Witness 1 stated that replacement DVRs were installed, but they did not work. Yep, this is where the obstruction comes in at. Witness 3, who had previously installed the DVR equipment at the recording studio, also spoke with the FBI. According to Witness 3, on January 31st, 2021, Witness 3 went to the studio to fix video cameras that were not working at the studio after Witness 2 called Witness 3 to fix them. Witness 3 analyzed the equipment and concluded that the DVR system was unplugged or turned off. According to Witness 1, DS then sent him money to purchase new DVR equipment for the studio. I believe that there is probable cause to conclude that footage from the DVR system was shown an altercation between Henley and RW on the night of January 24th, 2021, and at minimum, Henley and RW leaving the studio together shortly before RW's unaliving. 6. Interviews of family, witnesses, and Big U Enterprise associates. On January 27, 2021, North Las Vegas PD detectives spoke with RW's family, which was the first time the family learned that RW had passed away. On January 28, 2021, North Las Vegas PD detectives again spoke with RW family. Generally, his family confirmed that RW lived in California and worked as a musician. He was recently working with a music producer, Henley, who was also from California, and Henley had booked RW's R&B and travel. RW's families explained that RW was close with Henley and trusted him. Henley coached RW in football since RD was young. What? RD lived with Henley for a time while in high school. At some point, Henley believed RW had worn a chain that belonged to Henley's son to school without permission, and RW was kicked out of Henley's home. PM RW's aunt added that she called Henley on January 27, 2021, after learning RW had been unalived. Henley claimed he had not seen or heard from RW and did not know his whereabouts. PM confronted Henley about arranging the trip for RW to record in Las Vegas, and then Henley admitted he had done so. PM had overheard Henley speaking with someone named KF, whom investigators later interviewed about RW's travel arrangements. In a later interview during the pendency of this investigation, PM said that Henley would call her on a weekly basis prior to the unaliving, but after the call on January 27th, 2021, PM never heard from Henley. That's a pat. If you consistently call her prior to that and then you just all of a sudden stopped, that's sus. North Las Vegas PD also learned that CA, a friend of RW, spent the weekend in Las Vegas and visited RW at RW's Airbnb. According to CA, about 2 a.m. on Sunday morning, January 24th, 2021, Henley came to the Airbnb and asked RW why he did not show up to the music studio the day prior, January 23rd, 2021. RW claimed he did not have a ride to the studio. CA reported that it was odd that Henley actually took the time to show up at the Airbnb in Las Vegas to confront RW. CA and his family left for California Sunday afternoon, January 24th, around 2 p.m., and CA had not heard from RW since. Throughout the entire investigation, the family members and friends who have been interviewed have pointed to Henley as the person they believe to be responsible for RW's unaliving. Within days, multiple people were sending Instagram messages to Henley demanding answers for what happened to RD, all of which went without response. North Las Vegas PD searched RD's Instagram. RD's final Instagram message to Henley regarding the price of a song was sent on January 24th, 2021 at 1:57 p.m. Henley did not respond until January 26th at 8 a.m., almost 24 hours after Henley left Las Vegas following RW's unaliving. In the meantime, the evidence shows that Henley had seen RW at the studio the night of January 24th, 2021, after RW had sent that Instagram message. And Henley presumably would have discussed the price of that song at the time, if at all. Thus, it appears that Henley sent the message on January 26th in attempt that to plead ignorance that RW was unalived and to avoid suspicion from law enforcement of his involvement in the unaliving. On February 3rd, 2021, North Las Vegas PD conducted a recorded interview of KF, who is the person RW's aunt heard Henley talking to about RW's travel arrangements to on January 27th, as discussed above. KF was the account manager for Unique Music and handled the artist's travel needs and expenses. KF used KF's KF used KF's mother's Uber account to coordinate rides for RW while RW was in Las Vegas. KF confirmed he worked directly for Henley and had arranged for RW's flight to Las Vegas. RW was supposed to fly home Tuesday, January 26, 2021, possibly in the morning. So over 24 hours after RW was seen leaving the Airbnb with his suitcase in the gray or silver sedan and then found unalive. KF has also arranged living accommodation for RW at the Airbnb for the week of January 19th through January 26th. Additionally, KF explained that part of his job was to arrange the transportation via Uber to and from the studio for RW, who left two controllers and a jacket at the Airbnb that the Airbnb owner had contacted KF about. KF used an Airbnb application on his phone to make the reservation, but the account actually belonged to a friend named HT. Interviewing the audio of this interview, it is clear that KF hesitated when answering several questions and appeared to be elusive about several answers. KF claimed he did not have a phone number for Henley and had no way to get in touch with him. Yeah, right. KF eventually provided Henley's phone number, but still claimed he did not know how to get in touch with him and did not know when he would see him again. KF also claimed he did not know the address of the recording studio in Las Vegas, even though KF was the person tasking with making the transportation arrangements for RW to get to the studio. Man, you got to be slow. KF then stated that he merely provided Cash App transfers to RW so that RW could book the Uber rides before backtracking and stated he did order Uber rides for him. Similarly, KF claimed that he did not know the name of the music studio or the engineer RW was scheduled to work with. KF advised that RW made music and was supposed to make one song per day in Las Vegas. KF said RW did not go to the studio on January 19th, was supposed to go every day after that, but probably did not go every day. On one day, RW did not go and said he would double up the following day. RW texted KF and said he was enjoying himself and was doing well. When KF called him, he did not answer. KF texted him, but at a certain point, the text message went green instead of blue. The last time KF received a text message from RW was at 11:58 p.m. on January 24th, 2021, less than 2 hours before his unaliving. When the FBI attempted to interview KF, he told them he did not want to speak with them. Soon after the interview of KF, the North Las Vegas PD located HT, whose account was used by KF to book RW's Airbnb. She explained that she did not authorize the use of her Airbnb account and was very upset about it. She explained that her godbrother KF used the Airbnb account to book a room in Las Vegas and then learned someone had been unalive during the stay. HT explained that KF used her account to book the room but used his own credit card. HT received a notification regarding the booking and asked KF why he used her account to book a room. KF apologized and claimed that he did not realize he booked it on her account. What? At the time, HT said she did not think it was a big deal and did not press the issue. HT did not know RW and explained that she worked in the medical field. Since KF had used HT's Airbnb account to reserve the room, HT intercepted messages between the Airbnb host and KF and provided them to law enforcement. Ooh wee. HT saw a message from KF asking if the Airbnb property had video surveillance prior to law enforcement speaking to KF and confronted KF about the message because she did not want her account to be associated with any problems. I know that's right. KF told her about RW's unaliving again before law enforcement spoke to KF and said he was trying to figure out what happened to RW. Mm. Ooh. Part 7, Title 3 Interceptions. In 2023, after the North Las Vegas PD attempted to interview parties about the unaliving, Henley and his associates made several inculpatory calls regarding unaliving, which were intercepted by law enforcement pursuant to the Title III wiretap. First, North Las Vegas PD went to Henley's home at Henley's 62nd Street premises when he was not there. After leaving a business card and informing Henley's wife, S.H., that they were there following the 2-year anniversary of R.W.'s homicide, were new to the case and were just talking to everyone who was close to R.W. S.H. called Henley from Henley's father's phone. S.H. had not done this before during the entirety of the wiretap. Ooh. Henley answered, "What's up, Dad?" Further showing the anomalous nature of the call. S.H. then explained that the detectives came by their home and were looking for him and talking to others. Henley asked how many officers, but was otherwise extremely circumspect. Circumspect. Okay. In the hundreds of hours of calls captured that I've listened to, Henley's voice was notably and conspicuously different on this call. SH also lied to police, stating that Henley only lived at Henley's 62nd Street premises sometimes. In actuality, the FBI observed on surveillance and in months of cell site location data that Henley was there most nights unless he was traveling. After the call, Henley did not return home for 2 weeks. Again, something he had not done during the entirety of the surveillance or cell site location data received by law enforcement. Moreover, that night, victim 1 paid an extortion fee to Robinson, who was driving Henley's Mercedes. Again, Robinson's driving Henley's Mercedes was something that had not occurred before during the course of the investigation. Based on my training and experience, I believe Henley's not returning home for 2 weeks and having one of his associates driving his car were attempts by Henley to avoid law enforcement regarding R.W.'s unaliving. On or about February 14, 2023, at approximately 12:05 p.m., Henley called Martin. During the intercepted call, Henley told Martin he wanted to meet with him at Martin's auto shop to discuss the police investigation into R.W.'s unaliving. The following is a transcript of a portion of the conversation. Henley, 5 detectives went by my house this morning from Las Vegas and said they wanted to talk to me. You hear me? Martin says yes or yeah. Henley, probably let you know they was asking about RW and told 2-year anniversary it was they wanted to follow up and talk to everybody who was close. And where you at? Martin says, I'm at the shop. Henley says, all right, I'm pulling up to you, or I'm pulling up on you. Martin says, all right. Well, he says, I. Based on other intercepts, I know that Henley believed the FBI may been intercepting his calls. Therefore, I believe Henley wanted to talk to Martin in person regarding the unaliving in order to avoid speaking on a telephone line that may be intercepted by law enforcement. Following the call to Martin, Henley immediately placed calls to DS, the person who reportedly removed the video surveillance footage from the studio. The first few calls were not answered. Then Henley told DS he needed to meet with him. The following is a transcript of the portion of the conversation. Henley, where you at? DS says, at the house, ready to jump in the shower. Where you on? Henley says, I need to pull up on you. DS says, all right, I'm right here at the house. Henley says, all right, I got to pull up on you. And then he says, how long you going to be? Henley says, you ain't about to go nowhere, are you? DS says, nah, Then Henley says, okay. DS says, I'll just jump in the shower though, just to be ready though. Henley says, okay. DS says, all right, for sure. Well, not for sure. For sure. As discussed above, DS reportedly removed video surveillance evidence of Henley and RW's presence at the studio hours before the homicide, namely all the security cameras and DVRs from the studio. On February 16, 2023, Henley was on the phone with DS. Henley told DS he was traveling to Las Vegas the following day where Witness 2 was located. North Las Vegas PD had begun interviews of witnesses regarding RW's unaliving, and I believe that Henley may have been going to Las Vegas to confront Witness 2 to see if he had talked to law enforcement. On February 21st, 2023, Henley received a phone call from his son. Henley's son told Henley that North Las Vegas PD called him about RW and suggested that the detectives had spoken to SH and Henley already. Henley told his son that nobody had spoken to the detectives and directed him not to talk to anyone anymore about RW. The same day, Henley called SH to tell her that the North Las Vegas PD detectives had called their son about RW and what was said. Henley told SH to call LD, and LD is the mother of KF, Henley's employee who booked victim RW's travel arrangements and lied to investigators when questioned, but on FaceTime. Henley told SH to be careful about what she said over the phone. SH said he had nothing to worry about. When the FBI approached LD about this, LD hired a lawyer who told law enforcement that her client had no memory of this and had nothing to do with it. Wow. The same day, Henley called Martin and told him he had been trying to reach him on his other phone, possibly via FaceTime. Martin said he was going to get his other phone. Henley requested Martin to call him. Later the same day, Henley called Martin to confirm that he was at Martin's auto shop. Henley told Martin he was on his way out to meet with Martin at his auto shop. Still later, Henley called Robinson. Robinson was at one of Henley's homes, and Henley said he was heading to meet Robinson. Based on my training and expertise and knowledge of the investigation, I believe Henley was contacting Big U Enterprise members and associates, specifically those with knowledge of RW's unaliving, to ensure that any statements to law enforcement were either suppressed or consistent with another. Whew, all right, so now we're at section E, robbery in violation of Hobbs Act and as racketeering activity. According to witnesses, including victim one, and corroborated repeated by the wiretaps and recorded meetings with Big U Enterprise members, the Big U Enterprise sets up and executes robberies throughout Los Angeles. Normally, Henley provides the target and location while the robbery is committed by the Big U Enterprise or at the Big U Enterprise's direction using the Rolling 60s or other associates. The Big U Enterprise, as well as the individuals who personally commit the robberies, will take a cut and then often sell the robbery proceeds or give the robbery proceeds back to a victim as a power grab and to instill fear of future robberies or violence. Henley directs a robbery of a and conspires to rob, and Robinson and Williams personally rob a marijuana dispensary at gunpoint. What? One such robbery occurred on July 5th, 2021, at an unlicensed marijuana dispensary in Los Angeles where victim one worked. Leading up to the robbery, the Big U Enterprise had been extorting victim one for years, and victim one has been paying the Big U Enterprises up to $25,000 per month when the victim one was at the top of his earning capacity. What? Shortly before the robbery, however, victim one has ceased paying extortion to Big U Enterprise as victim one did not believe it was necessary or that he was receiving any benefit from the payments. On the day of the robbery, approximately 11 of the Big U Enterprises members and associates, including Robertson and Williams, both of whom Victim 1 knew as well as Rolling 60 members, rushed into the dispensary armed with firearms and without masks. They demanded belongings of anyone inside and stole cash and marijuana from the store before fleeing. And this says, see Taylor versus the United States to satisfy the Hobbs Act. Okay, that's neither here nor there. At one point, they demanded a Rolex watch from one of the co-owners, but the Robinsons' direction, they ended up letting him keep it. According to Victim 1, while still at the dispensary, the robbers put Victim 1 on the phone with Henley, who invited Victim 1 to Henley's home. According to Victim 1, when Victim 1 arrived at Henley's Arlington premises, Robinson Williams and other robbers were there and were the proceeds of the robbery. Inside, Henley told Victim 1, "That's how you rob yourself." Henley then demanded $10,000 from Victim 1 to ensure other robberies did not occur. Henley also directed Victim 1 to identify other businesses or dispensaries that could be similarly robbed and assured Victim 1 that the Big U Enterprise would compensate him for identifying any robberies. Wow! Henley then provided a portion of the robbery proceeds back to Victim 1. Boy, he was mind effing these folks. Williams later admitted to this robbery and the aftermath on a podcast on the No Jumper podcast after stating that Williams was Henley's right hand man. Williams explained, so basically, he'll manipulate things. We'll go and do something, and then the same ninjas we do it to show up to the house like 10 minutes later as we trying to count everything. And we be like, how the F? Williams then said that Henley would state, well, we just going to give like 40,000 back. Whack 100, who is a rival counterpart of Henley's For the Bloods, was also on the podcast and stated, you know why he wanted to give the dude back the 40, right? Because he was going to make that dude give him 20 for getting it back. Williams then agreed, of course, he did that too. Two famous rappers. Williams then detailed demanding $50,000 from let me see, from celebrity rapper RR, or they would unalive the celebrity rapper MM. Williams then said RR dropped off his $50,000 and Henley stopped answering the phone and then did not share any of the proceeds with Williams. According to further No Jumper and Vlad TV segments, Henley then served a cease and desist order on No Jumper, and this podcast episode was removed from the platform, although a recording of the episode remained available elsewhere online. Williams' recounting of his robbery occurred years after the robbery of Victim 1's dispensary and years after Victim 1 had already recounted and documented the robbery for the FBI. So, Whack 100, what what this is saying is like Whack 100 already knows the process, and this man went on No Jumper and Vlad TV and said these things, and they pulled it from obviously the episode from the platform, but I gotta go find this because this is wild. He didn't want nobody to know that. Williams continues to commit and discuss robberies and other violent acts. So this is number 2 of this section. Lately, Williams has claimed in multiple interviews that he is no longer affiliated with Big U, whom he now refers to as Big Useless or Big Uterus. However, Williams continues to discuss former Big U enterprise business to discuss the threatened violent assaults and robberies and to actually commit the same. Like, dude, you really going out here discussing, you calling this man this after you done witness what this man can do? For example, on January 3rd, 2025, outside of the No Jumper podcast filming location in Los Angeles, Williams struck a victim in the head multiple times with a firearm and pointed the firearm at the back of his head, while two other suspects removed valuables from the victim, including jewelry, cash, and a cell phone, in excess value of $5,000. The victim lost consciousness during the incident, which was captured on video and posted to social media, apparently to stoke fear and boast of Williams' penchant for violence. After the incident, Williams posted a 7-minute video on his YouTube channel discussing the beating, stating that he used to be big, useless enforcer and that he loves to fight and that the incident could have went a lot worse. Williams' post also played a portion of the assault. Similarly, on February 25th, 2025, Williams posted a video on his YouTube channel in which he threatened anyone that is at odds with him to do something bad to you, your mama, your daddy, anybody. In the same video, Williams walked through the checking in process and walked through the fact that he would rob any celebrity who did not check in, including at an Airbnb, a restaurant, a car wash, or anywhere. Williams also said that he was with Henley when rapper Rakeem Hashim Allen, aka PNB Rock, was robbed and unalive, that they told him to comply and that they would get the jewelry later. Williams also walked through the kidnapping of a famous rapper that Williams and Henley committed together, and then discussed several Big U Enterprise associates being good in Los Angeles because they have checked in. Some of the mentioned were developing options donors or former NBA players who have provided hundreds of dollars as purported gifts to Henley personally. So this footnote says, according to Williams' statements in the publicly available online video, he kidnapped a victim, put him in the trunk of his car, and drove him to Henley's home. In February 2025, whoa, this is like last month, Williams also took part in a filmed conversation with multiple people on YouTube in which Williams told another participant that you will lose your life. And then when Williams found him, Williams was going to do something bad to him. Number 3 of this section, further evidence of Big U Enterprises' involvement in robberies. Throughout this investigation, the FBI obtained many recordings of Big U Enterprise members and associates discussing robberies that were committing or planning to commit. For example, on August 6, 2021, on a recorded call, Robinson told victim 1, trying to lick somebody that ain't even hard. All this ish is just, this ain't working, man. I'm like, man, I'm in the wrong business, homie. In my training and experience in investigation into this case, lick is consisted in using slang for robbery. They learn a lot of slang from us, don't they? Similarly, on June 22nd, 2022, I'm telling y'all, when y'all start reading all these documents, the words just, you get tongue tied and all kinds of stuff. On June 22nd, 2022, on another recorded call, Robinson told victim 1 that Henley had been asking Robinson if they needed to do a takeover, which I know based on my training, experience, and participation in this investigation to mean a takeover robbery of victim 1 at his marijuana dispensary again because victim 1 had not paid his extortion payments. Then on July 9, 2022, Henley told victim 1, we gotta rob someone. You with that bullish? On July 31st, 2022, Henley told victim 1 that Henley needed $30,000 to pay his developing options staff and was considering a robbery and increased extortions to obtain the funds. Wow. Henley also was also intercepted on a telephone call telling the auto shop owner that Henley knew how much he had paid the shop owner because the payment was proceeds of a robbery. In other Title III wiretap interceptions, I also heard Henley planning a robbery of individuals that had stolen equipment from a celebrity rapper. I'm trying to think. Using a Apple AirTag that was purportedly with the equipment, Henley Martin and others obtained firearms and began to stage the robbery to get back at the equipment. However, when they arrived, the police also arrived, having been called by a celebrity rapper. I witnessed the staging of the robbery on surveillance before it was called off. I'm trying to think who was robbed. Hmm. On November 11, 2022, on another intercepted call, Mitchell discussed above, and Henley coordinated how Mitchell would give Henley the proceeds from a robbery that Mitchell committed. Henley and Mitchell were talking about how much money should go to Henley. Then, in multiple other intercepted calls and text messages, Henley talked with Blanton and Robertson to help Henley collect from Mitchell's associate. Talking about Mitchell, Blanton said they robbed a ninja for some ish. They made a ninja call his plug and then they booked him. Talking about further splitting the proceeds, Henley told Blanton, I'm going to grab half of that, whatever he got him. I'm giving it to Vay, and Vay can bring the rest of you. Okay, so Vay is Robertson's moniker. I don't even know what that is. On a subsequent call, I heard Henley counting out the money and saying that it ain't nothing but 2 to 3 racks. Blanton responded, Brick Baby said it was supposed to be between 5 to 7, man. Gotta make that call to Brick Man. On April 11, 2023, Henley and Blanton again discussed the individual who was supposed to be robbed in the near future. When I say this just gets worse, okay, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a pause on this and I'm going to just stay tuned for part 2. So I'm gonna put a pause on this and y'all gonna stay tuned for part 2. So far, let me know what y'all think about this in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until then, you all be blessed and I'm out. Bye.